Welcome to Dog on the Plot. I'm Kerry, this is Dory, and today we're in the home garden because it's been suffering a little bit from neglect. So the last couple of weeks, it's been a pretty busy time down at the allotment. And in fact, I've already been down there this morning. I did some tidying up and some watering and just enjoying the sunshine. Well, Dory was enjoying the sunshine while I was doing some work, because it's been such a busy time down there because of doing the greenhouse build, because I had the compost delivery. And so I was shifting the compost onto the beds and just generally getting the plot ready for the season, and also wanting to get some stuff in the ground. So the potatoes, the parsnips, carrots, and all of that has meant that the home garden has been rather neglected. And there's lots of things in the home garden that are popping up that look lovely, but they're kind of getting lost in the overgrowth. So my plan for today, don't really have much of a plan, don't have a to-do list. It's going to be a see it, do it. But I thought I would start at the very front of the garden and just work my way back. Yeah, I think that's the simplest thing to do. It's not going to be the most interesting stuff. Don't worry, I'll time lapse it for you, but it's mostly going to be weeding, cutting back stuff. So stuff that I left over winter for insects to hibernate in, that can come down now. Bit of strimming, bit of moving things about. Maybe I'll repair the arches. Maybe I'll clean the greenhouse. As if. Look at me teasing. I'm not going to clean the greenhouse. But yeah, I'm going to try and do as many jobs as I can and get this garden back shipshape. So save it from the neglect. But I also have to prepare it for being abandoned, because I am going to go on holiday in a few weeks and I need everything to be ready for me going away. I also need to get ready for meeting Claire. I'm going to do a plant exchange. So I need to get ready all the things that I want to give to Claire, but I also need to make room for all the stuff that she's going to bring me. And you know, she is going to bring me tons of stuff, which is super exciting. And I never say no. Do I? I never say no to plants. So yeah, we need to do some potting on, pricking out, planting out, I think, as well, although the weather is a little bit, so we shall see. But yeah, I'm going to crack on. It won't take too long for you. It's going to take me a while, and then we'll do a tour. Well, yesterday went not quite as expected, I would say. Things started rather well. You saw in the video, I was getting on with the weeding. Everything at the very front of the garden seemed to go quite well. It was as I moved towards the midpoint of the garden that I went slightly off track. So there's a lot of overgrowth on this side of the garden. And it wasn't really my intention to tackle much of that. And yet, once you get started, you just keep going. And yeah, there's a lot of brambles. So that was kind of awkward. But also, in fact, the brambles aren't as bad as the wild roses. There are wild roses like growing up at the cotoneaster, and they're so prickly, and the stems are so thick. I did have to get the pronabos out. That was for the stems, but then also because I was working around the cotoneaster, I ended up taking absolutely enormous branches off the cotoneaster as well. And in doing so, slightly destroyed even more so the arches. But even then, I was going okay. I felt like I was on track, but I then took the arches down, and that's where things went a little bit more tricky. So what I have done is I moved one of the arches that was still good to this bed in front of me here, ready for the clematis to go over. And that left two broken arches. And I decided rather than trying to fix those with bamboo canes or whatever, I would remove them and instead try and put the roses in the obelisks. I never say that right, do I? Obelisk story. But I put the roses in the obelisks, and the Crazy in Love rose, a climber, went in lovely, no problem. But then my rambler, well, take a look. So it's in it, kind of. These parts are not. It's just absolutely massive. And I haven't pruned it yet because it's not the time to prune your ramblers. So I don't know really what to do, whether to just leave it like this until it is time to prune and then have a proper go at it, or after all that, take it off and try and put the arch back round. It should be flowering soon. In fact, I can see lots of little buds on it, although it's now on a broken stem. Yeah, I was pretty destructive. Once you start something, sometimes you're like, I will do this. You will not defeat me, Rambling Rose. And I did, I got it on, but at what cost? So after the rose, I was flagging a little bit, but I pushed on and I weeded the beds in the vegetable garden, but then I called it quits. It was about 5:30 and I'd forgotten I'd done all that heavy lifting at the allotment plot in the morning beforehand, so no wonder I was feeling it. And when I woke up this morning, I felt stiff. But I've already been on it. I already did a power hour this morning, so 7 a.m. till 8 a.m, set myself a little time span and went out into the front garden and had a go out there. So like the back garden, the front garden has been a little bit neglected, and I'm very conscious of that because of course it's front facing, everybody sees it, and there's a lot of interest in there and things are popping up. So they've got the forget-me-nots and the tulips and the daffodils are all in there, and you can also see the Taunton kale has recovered and the rhubarb is there, but there was also an awful lot of weeds and a lot of dead material that I'd left over the winter for insects. So I took all the dead material down. I did a really good weed. One of the things that I had to do was pull up a lot of the raspberry runners. So I've got the summer fruiting raspberry in the front garden. Whether this was a good idea, time will tell. This might be the first year I actually get proper fruit on it. But I had to pull up a lot of those runners. Now, luckily, my mum is quite keen to have some summer fruiting raspberries at the back of her garden. So I've saved whatever I pulled up that had a good bit of root on. I stuck in water and saved it for Mum. Now, I don't think I'm going to have time to do much else in the home garden because I've got to get down to the allotment plot. I've got water butts to pick up and pay for, and I've got so much potting on, pricking out and sowing to do. And I think I want to get on with that for the rest of today. So let's pop my tea down, and while it's still nice and quiet, still early in the morning, we'll do our tour, and yeah, you can see what I've uncovered. Let's head out to the front garden then and start there. Now, a running theme of my tidying is that actually I've been fairly destructive. So this actually, like, I've had to walk through and stuff, so I've squished things, but this does look, trust me, this is a lot better than when I started. So some of the stars of the front garden are the apple tree, which is in blossom and looking gorgeous. That's a James Grieve. In front of it is a pink currant, is it called? Oh, I forget the name of it now. I'll put it on the screen, but look how much it's grown. I'm really pleased with that. We've got tulips growing, and I've uncovered some of the strawberry plants now that I've weeded. Obviously, there are forget-me-nots everywhere, and there might be things that look like really invasive grasses, but actually this is garlic. So this is from my cousin's garden. It's kind of a perennial garlic. You can see there's quite a few coming from one spot there, and I've got those dotted around. Not really purposely put in. I mean, I did plant them. I planted garlic all in here one year, but those were some that I obviously forgot to remove, and yeah, they've just kind of perennialized in here, and that's what they did in my cousin's garden as well. So that's great. Also, perennial garlic is my elephant garlic. So you can see it just behind, although I missed some of these raspberry shoots. There it is. But can you see there's another stalk just there? So they're all coming from one entire bulb of elephant garlic that was just left in the ground when I harvested before. So that's quite a good thing to know, that you could just leave it in the ground if you wanted to. Right, what else have we got going on? Obviously there's the rhubarb, and that's going great guns. Really pleased with how that's grown. What else? Down here, this is a tree peony, which has taken well now, so that's good. Got some more garlics over there. Got some hollyhocks coming. You know, I love my hollyhocks on the front. And then, I mean, I said the apple was the star of the show, but look at the spread of that Taunton Dean kale now. My goodness, and how much it's recovered from its absolute mothering by caterpillars. But now, gorgeous, gorgeous leaves, and really spread out around the back of the front garden. Now with it is, and I know because it stung my bum, is a gooseberry. So there's a gooseberry in there, and look, you see? This is going to be the first time it's fruited. And dominating it all are the summer fruit of raspberries, and perhaps you can understand why I said, was this a mistake? So yeah, they've been popping up all over the shop, and these are really large. I didn't know that they were summer fruiting when I put them in, because obviously autumn fruiting you would cut down at the end of the year and would not look quite so invasive. But yeah, hoping my neighbour doesn't mind. So there's some nice greenery when you look out the window though, I feel. Anything else? The erigeron, the Mexican fleabane, you can see it's got buds on there. I'm really pleased. I want that to spread as much as possible, and I want to take some clumps of it to put on the allotment as well. There's foxgloves in here, there's aquilesias, hollyhocks, strawberries, tansy, all sorts going on in here, and I'm all for it. I absolutely love it. Okay, heading into the back garden. Well, the first thing that you see at the very front is the mess I've made. So you saw me putting stuff into the council waste bin because it's all prickly and it's like brambles and things, and if I put those in the compost or even in the dead hedge, they will root. So they need to go in the council waste bin, which means I need to pay for this year. But all of that would not fit in, and that's what I took out of the front garden this morning. But if we look beyond the mess that I've made, I have made some progress in terms of tidying. So I did a light strim of the lawn, just a light strim, and then a weed of the herb and dahlia bed. No sign of dahlias just yet, but that's to be expected. Obviously the forget-me-nots have got in here too, and they've always loved this bed. I've got garlic chives in there. Now, speaking of garlic, so this is garlic cress. I bought it from a supplier of unusual vegetables when we're at the, is it the 1689 house, 1619 house, whatever it was. We went to a plant sale there. And this stuff is brilliant. It has done so well over winter. There's loads of new growth. In fact, I've pulled up some roots of it to take to Claire, even though she says she doesn't like garlic. But yeah, super happy with this. It's definitely one of my best purchases of last year. What has fared less well in the herb bed is the Vietnamese coriander. So we shall see if that comes back. And also I had a blackcurrant sage here, but it might come back. As with, you can just see a stalk there. That's the lemon verbena, which I do really love the lemon verbena. It makes the best tea. And in the past that has come back. So fingers crossed for that one. Right, my border. Now, I always think about this as sort of my main flower border, but actually it's very difficult to grow in. And part of the reason is because it is absolutely covered with bluebells. There we go. Oh, and they do, I mean, they're gorgeous. And it is lovely to have them here in the spring, but they do fill out the space a lot. So when they go over, I'm going to pull those and most of their roots, they'll come back anyway. If I left this bed to just do its own thing, it would just be bluebells and then crocosmia. But I don't let it do its own thing. I do try and put things in. Some tulips are coming there. Look at those primula hiding in the back there. And the Japanese anemone has survived and will be coming back this year, so that's good. And of course I have my climbing, whoop, don't fall over, climbing rose that goes right up into the firethorn there. And it's actually looking really healthy this year. So it's got some new growth on it. A less impressive rose in this bed is this one, which was meant to be a Joro rose and isn't. It's just kind of a boring red rose. Oh, look at my peony. Look how healthy the peony looks. And there's a bud. So I weeded it as best as I could, and when the bluebells are over, I'll pull a lot of that out, and that should bring some light and air and space into that area. Right, on the other side, the Acer has started to come into leaf. Oh, love it. Love it, love it. But it was underneath that I was working. So I've got my... Oh, Dory, you just ran straight into me. What are you doing? What? You want your breakfast? Sorry, I forgot. Shall we get your breakfast? Come on then. Here we go. Here we go. Right, where were we? So this is my hellebore. Now I had 3 hellebores under here because of course before the aster comes into leaf, you can seal them all and then they're shaded during the summer, which is what you want. Now this one didn't do anything this year, and in fact I thought it was dead, but look, new leaves, so I'm going to keep my eye on that one. And there was another one in here, but I can't see it. You can see there's lots of bluebell foliage under here as well. Anyway, I gave all of that a good weed, and then I moved on to the new border, which is the shady border because it's underneath the absolutely massive ginkgo tree, which is also just coming into leaf. So the conditions of this border are shady and dry, but actually I was quite surprised when I was weeding that it was fairly moist underneath the surface of the soil. Now I cut back a lot of the, what's this called, japonica, anonymous, you know, that thing, in order to expose this, which is a Himalayan raspberry. And I bought it from Jurassic Plants a couple of years back now. It has grown wonderfully. It loves shade and you get little berries on it that are meant to be incredibly tasty. I've not had any berries so far, and if I look, I can see new leaf, but I can't see anything that would suggest berries just yet. Oh, look at the brunnera though. I love the leaf of the brunnera. I've got another one of these to put in the ground here. It has little forget-me-not type flowers. Very pretty. And you may have noticed in the background just then that I have some daffodils coming up outside of the border. And if you remember, I planted all along here daffodils and they've all popped up. So I'm really pleased. But as I was saying, I was pretty destructive when I was doing this and I knocked some of the flowers off. So they're now indoors. This tulip, these are all random tulips that just went into the bed. Look at the colours on that. It's a parrot one, I guess. I'm looking forward to that coming out. But yeah, this is a lavatera tree. This is not the place where you would put a lavatera tree. Nevertheless, it's where it is and I'm not moving it. And there's foxgloves in here, there's honesty, there's probably some hollyhock. Oh, there's this geum. Now, I have a lot of geum weed, but this is an actual one because I've still got the tag on it. So that's nice. I have to determine when I'm weeding if it's a real geum or a geum weed. The roses we did together a few weeks ago and they're fine. I've got a bleeding heart back here just coming out, and I've got one on the other side as well. And then as we come to the end of the front of the garden, this acer, the red acer, is also coming into bud, and you can still see all the hellebores underneath, still looking gorgeous. Now on this side, I moved my tulips around so I could see them. Aren't they looking great? These are all new for this year, and I was a bit disappointed because these came out first and they just looked like a really fadey red when they first came out. But now they've like really matured into a beautiful pink. I've got these ones with the like orangey tints on the edges of the leaves, and then these are pinky and yellow. I was going for a kind of apricot theme. I have not succeeded in this, but it is looking really nice. Did nothing with the pond. I did cross the pond over here, and I tried the Rosa rugosa, so that it went in the tree. I took down all the dead foliage that was back here, which was masses of the stuff, and that's all gone into the dead hedge that I have behind the tree there. And yeah, this was just a general weed to try and bring out the really beautiful flowers that were otherwise getting a bit swamped. The fig is in leaf. I'm debating moving this down to the allotment actually and putting it either in the greenhouse or in the polytunnel. And this is the ornamental cherry, and it did blossom. It's just a little bit hanging on, but it didn't blossom brilliantly. Oh, but look at this. This is a lilac that I planted, and that's going to flower this year. And that bamboo, don't worry, it's in a pot. So that's the point I got to where everything was still going fairly straightforward. And then we get to this area. Now, once upon a time, this bed was just wild strawberries and mint. It was absolutely covered, and I did cardboard, did no dig, put compost on top. And although some pokes through now and then, it has had a new life. I've got a magnolia tree there that never does anything. I have got, though, look at this, the astrantia, which is coming back. Very pleased with that. Also pleased that the electric blue penstemon looks like it might still be alive. I'm hoping that's what that, I'm not sure if that is what that is, because look, that's the leaf on the old thing. Anyway, it does look like it's alive. This is the pheasant berry, which I'm very pleased with. And there's geraniums. There's that thing that I got from the church. What a great leaf on that. It can be quite spready though. Oh yeah, and back here. So I always think of this, you know, so many plants want moist, shady conditions. This is my moist, shady patch. So I put anything that I think needs it, and it all dies here because it just gets covered in, well, mostly this, which is is it the blue alkanet? Anyway, what I found in here, there's a hellebore. Hellebore is growing in here. There's also some comfrey at the back there. That's actually beautiful comfrey. It's one I got from where we used to go to writing retreats with work, and I asked them if I could dig up a piece and they said yes. Anyway, I'm now standing under the big cotoneaster tree, which is, well, it's still as big, but it's got slightly less... Oh, hang on, Dory wants me to kick the ball. Oh, straight into you, Dory. And that brings us into the vegetable garden. Now, I'm not going to dwell on the roses. We'll just swiftly go by that. And in this bed, we've got some garlic growing. So this was the really late planted garlic. Do you remember? I did it in, was it February? So that's in there. And there's some elephant garlic in there as well. And then opposite, onions in this one. So I think these are the white onions. They're in here. And behind them, I think these were the red onions. Some of this foliage is, well, those are tulips, some is daffodils, but these are onions. And there's a real allium theme in the home garden this year. So these are shallots. In this bed, these are the red sun shallots from Clare. And look how pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. There we go. Lovely. Now this bed we have been doing together, so it's got elephant garlic, it's got crimson flowered broad beans, and if I pick up this glass, well, I was going to say it's got carrots, but no sign of them yet. These are banana shallots though, also from Clare. Now that I've put the arch back up, I need to tie in the clematis, which is growing lovely since we cut it right down only a couple of weeks ago. And the one on this side is also showing life, as is this thing, but I'm not quite sure. I did have another clematis that I moved. I don't know if that's what that is. Anyway, there's field beans in this bed, and I also did a couple of rows of the chitted parsnip seed. And moving to the big beds. So this is the bed that's destined to be the blueberry and dahlia bed. The blueberries are sitting there waiting patiently for the field beans to finish doing their job. Look how they've grown. So I'm going to let those get a little bit bigger before I chop and drop them, and then I'll prepare this bed for the blueberries, which have got lovely blossoms on. Speaking of blossom, I forgot the trees, and this one is the cherry. So that's got blossom on, and this is the apple. This is the sunset apple, and that's just about to come out. Now in the second long bed, there's lots of garlic, regular garlic, and at the back there, there's elephant garlic. Like the elephant garlic on the plot, I waited absolutely ages for this to come up, and now look at it. It's fabulous. Lovely, strong little plants. And then on the other side of the bed, we've got more field beans, which I seem to have scattered everywhere. An absolutely massive patch of feverfew, which will need moving. And then under here, I think there's something quite special. I have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed that the sun has gone in for our tour. But as I said yesterday, the weather has been a little bit changeable. I'm glad I've got done what I have got done while it was nice yesterday. Now this is a cross between I don't think you should be up there, Dory, down, a perennial kale and a purple sprouting broccoli, and we have sprouts. In fact, we've got masses of them. Now, I wouldn't say that they look particularly purple, but oh well. I wasn't sure it was going to do much of anything. And again, this was a plant from that person selling unusual vegetables. I'll put the name of the company on the screen because they do tour about at plant sales and things. And they were a great selection of really different kinds of vegetables. So I do need to tidy up this plant a little bit. There's so much new growth on the sides as well. I wonder if Claire would like a cutting of this. Check that out. That's great. So I need to remember now to cover that back up because the pigeons love it. But happy with that. Right, a quick whip around what is left because I didn't do an awful lot after these beds. So the new border here, oh, this is my mulberry tree. This is something else that I'm thinking about taking down to the allotment. But that peony that I bought last year, remember, it was really dead. It was like £1 and it was meant to be £25. It's alive, yay. We've got the eucalyptus, we've got the California lavender, is that what that's called? I'm not remembering all my names now. We've got the sambucus, we've got the one I never remember the name of, and then all the berries. And all the berries are looking fantastic. Really covering that fence now. And the berries on the other side are the white currant, which we're going to have currants, and the red currant, also going to have currants, look. And then this one is the black currant then, I think, and that's also got buds on. But all of that still needs weeding, as does this bit down here. But as we come into the secret garden, the mint bed needs chopping back, but the new mint is emerging. We've got the three-cornered leek coming here, bronze fennel in that bed, but also just weeds. The garlic, wild garlic coming at the back there. And then in the actual bed, Jerusalem artichoke bed, the rhubarb we moved has taken brilliantly. Didn't expect that. It was really good, but I did miss a bit. So we've still got rhubarb between the josterberry, which is looking fantastic, and the goji berry, which I also put an obelisk around because it's very unruly. And then next to that, oh, look at the gooseberries. I've got a green gooseberry and a red gooseberry in here. I did not prune them. It's going to be prickly for harvesting. And I guess the only other thing to note, as it has become a little bit more of a mess again down here, because all that stuff that I've been cutting back has been piled here and needs chopping for the dead hedge, or threading through the dead hedge, or going into the council bin. I've got rhubarbs growing away in here, so I'm going to take at least one of these for Claire. Oh, the potatoes, look at them. So we've got rocket, Ulster Prince, and then even the Pentland Javelin, which hadn't chitted much, is now coming up. Christmas tree is back here. Still fairly, she says, fairly tidy around the compost bins, but check this out. How fantastic is that? Just popping out of the compost bin, which is very full now after all of that weeding. So there we go, a little select tour of the home garden. There's so much going on in here that I could spend ages showing you all sorts of things, but that's the important stuff. And now we need to head off to the allotment and yeah, see what's going on there. that didn't quite, I mean, this is a running theme, isn't it? Quite go to plan with the water butts. I wanted two of by the side of the greenhouse, they'll be fine. But I wanted that one by the polytunnel so that it was a nice black one like they were, rather than those horrible bright blue ones. But yeah, it's too tall. So anyway, I've moved it to this greenhouse and moved that one to the front. So that's fine, that's done. Those aren't actually water butts. They are storage containers for things like gherkins and silver skin onions, and I think one of them is pickled vegetables. And that's why they're cheap. So they're £10 each. They're huge and they don't have a tap on, and it's just a bit awkward with the shape because they do kind of round out at the top. So if you want something that goes straight down, that's where it becomes tricky. You really need something that bends or whatever. So anyway, that's fine, that's done. The other thing I need to do in the allotment before we head back to the home garden to those jobs is take out one of these Tortondine kales that I have been propagating. Somebody wanted to join me. Oh, look, Dory. Kale. You love kale. Here, have a snack. Here we go. Go on then. Where are you taking it? Right there. Okay. Right. Talking of kale. So I propagated lots of Tortondine kale, did the cuttings, and these ones in this pot were destined for Liam's mum, but they've been pigeoned. Now I'm still going to give her those ones because they will recover fine, but I wanted to dig up a couple of the ones that I've done at the back of the polytunnel because they are doing fantastic. Right, well, that one at the end isn't doing so great, and that one in the middle. This one looks great though, so let's get that one out. All these buckets of potatoes are sprouting now, but these all look brilliant. Really lovely. Right, let's get this out then. Oh, the ground is quite hard. I might need my fork. So go. Yeah, I'm going to need the fork. Okay. Don't fall through the poly. Right. Let's have another go, Dory. Okay. Oh, awkward. Right. So Liam's mum absolutely loves this Tortondine kale. I gave her a plant last year or the year before, and she just strips it every time. She's as bad as the pigeons. Every time there are leaves on it, she eats them. So she needs more. And Liam's actually going there to build her some raised beds so she'll have somewhere to put it as well. Because I think that's the other thing. The one I gave her is still in a pot, and we know how this likes to roam and how big it can get. There we go. There we go. Lovely. Oh, it's got a good root on it. Let's pop that there. Try not to break it. Now, I'm not doing Clare one because she has already had one from me previously, and really most people do only need one, but depends how much you love it. I'm going to pop one in each corner. Hang on, where's the other one gone? There. There we go. Right, I'm going to give those water and I'm going to reduce the foliage. Right, I'm going to pop in a couple of the Australian tree cabbages as well, which were also pigeoned and don't look great, but they're so robust, these brassicas. And I'll pop those in for her as well. Right, I think I'm going to call that it for the allotment plot. Get home because there's still loads to do there. We're back in the home garden. I've just been doing a few bits to take for Clare. So I've got the rhubarb, I've got the loganberry, the boysenberry, the garlic cress. I've done some cuttings of the purple sprouting perennial kale. I've just taken some, well, I've just pricked out some of this column stock. It's apricot column stock, looks absolutely gorgeous. I showed Clare a picture of it and she says, yes, bring me some of that. So I've just done that, and I think that might be everything. I've got the bits for Liam's mum. I'm just doing a quick water. And to be honest, I'm ready for a break. I'm going to be looking forward to my holiday that's coming up. But in the meantime, we got to meet Claire, so I shall see you there tomorrow.